When I made that comment, I was stating the facts, and the sad truth is that if you look at recent high-profile convictions of gang-based child sexual exploitation, there's a majority of people that come from Pakistani heritage backgrounds, and that's plain for everyone to see. And what I've said is that we, in trying to deal with this, trying to turn this around, we must look at all factors, and we must not be too sensitive and shy away or be oversensitive. And that's why I think that we should be looking at to see if there are any cultural issues, and that's why I've commissioned some research on this.
Welcome to the video, guys. We got some partially good news here, even though it's about something that makes me sick. But it needs to be regularly called out, and every time these animals are put down, we need to bring it to more public attention. This is relating to 6 dirty fuck pigs that were put down yesterday as part of the Huddersfield Grooming gang scandal that has seen 34 men convicted as it stands. One more is due to be sentenced today also, which we are waiting for at the time of this video. And as you see in that clip there from Sajid Javid in 2018, these men are mostly from Pakistani heritage with strong English names. Now the BBC are reporting on this, and we'll also take a look at a bit of a Guardian and Mirror article, because while they all point out a lot of things that need to be said, they do also miss some things out, which I will go over. Now the BBC's article headlines Huddersfield Grooming, predatory men jailed for rape. And to me, that title's not enough. It should be predatory men jailed for raping white girls because they are white. A grooming gang has been jailed for sexually exploiting young girls for their own perverted gratification, and because they are only white girls who these people consider to be less than nothing. The predatory men targeted 2 girls in the Huddersfield area. Yeah, I bet they targeted a fuckload more than 2 girls, that'll be for sure. Creating a relationship of trust that allowed them to perpetrate gross sexual abuse. No, it wasn't creating a relationship of trust, they were grooming them and exploiting them. These girls probably did not trust them in the slightest. They were being abused, simple as that. The girls were controlled by violence and threats against them and their families, Leeds Crown Court was told. Which I'm sure you will all agree, that statement just contradicts the first one. Fucking idiots. Fuck Pig 1, Fuck Pig 2, Fuck Pig 3, and Fuck Pig 4, along with 2 other fuck pigs, previously had been found guilty of rape, and were obviously sentenced yesterday. Judge Jeffrey Marson QC said the way these girls were treated defies understanding. The abuse was vile and wicked. No, people understand it perfectly, you're just skirting around the issue. These people there think white girls are literally trash and there to be abused. They don't think there's anything wrong with this in their mind, which is why not one of them showed any remorse in court. It's clear that both have been and remain profoundly affected by the abuse which ended some years ago. Well, no shit, Sherlock, let's be honest there. It's not exactly going to be something you're going to forget, is it? The girls were groomed from the age of 13 and 14, with the offending starting in 1995 and taking place over a period of more than 10 years. Where I expect they went to the police and these fuckers did absolutely nothing about it because they didn't want to hurt community cohesion. You know, like we heard Diane Abbott going on about yesterday. Judge Marston said the grooming of the girls was insidious and persistent, and described the abuse as disgusting and degrading. He said one of the victims would go missing, returning home heavily under the influence of alcohol or drugs, sometimes naked on her lower half with injuries. Which goes to show how much these men really think about these girls, and proves what I said, there was no relationship of trust. That's a load of bollocks. They were bribed and fucking bullied into it. That's not trust, for fuck's sake. She was raped by one fuck pig in his car who was rough and aggressive and left her in tears. Majid raped her numerous times, often threatening to not take her home unless she had sex with him. Because based on the pictures I've seen here, they're all ugly as sin and can't get it anywhere else, so they have to resort to their animal nature, like the sick scumbags that they are. The judge said the second victim was regularly piled with drugs and alcohol in order to facilitate the gross sexual abuse by older men. She was indecently assaulted and raped by a fuckpig who plied her with vodka at her father's flat. Prosecutor Andrew Parnham read victim impact statements to the court. She said one victim had tried to report the abuse to the police in 1997, but was disbelieved and felt let down, so I was right. It had been reported to the police, and they did fuck all. The other victim, Miss Parnham said, had her childhood taken away from her. 6 men were jailed for a total of 55 years, with a 7th who has been convicted of 1 count of rape due to be sentenced on Thursday, today which I said earlier. Speaking after the case, Detective Chief Inspector Richard McNamara of West Yorkshire Police said the sentences handed down to these men today reflect the depravity of their actions, and I hope it will bring some comfort to their victims to see them jailed. Now I'll tell you what will bring some comfort to their victims. Use that law that you used on the Jamaican 50 the other day to deport these fuckers out of the country if you can. Never mind just putting them in prison so they can come out in 10 or 15 years. Let's get the fuckers out of the country. It's over a year, so it definitely fits the guidelines used to get rid of the ones recently. But in these cases like that, I don't like hearing from the police because the chances are they've known about this or heard rumours of it and had evidence of it before, as we have seen reported before. And here it says here, a further 2 men cannot be named for legal reasons, where each were convicted of a count of rape, with 1 jailed for 8 years and another jailed for 4. See, 4 and 8 years is really not enough for rape. What the fuck is going on there? And here we have the Guardian article with a bunch of scumbags on it. Now we'll just read a bit of this one. The trial was the 6th to come from Operation Tendercy, an investigation by West Yorkshire Police into child sexual exploitation in the town, which has now seen 34 men convicted. Judge Geoffrey Marson QC said the abuse of victims who had been targeted because of their vulnerability was vile and wicked. No, it had nothing to do with their vulnerability. They were targeted simply because they were white girls seen as trashy hoes at the end of the day. This is the way these people see them. It's a fucking known fact. He added that the abusers had manufactured a relationship of trust that allowed them to perpetrate gross sexual abuse for their own perverted gratification. No, there was no trust, and it wasn't just for their own perverted gratification. It's because they considered these girls less than nothing. They were planned offences, he continued. It is likely many of these girls will never recover from the abuse they suffered. I'm sure none of them will fully recover from that abuse. Marsden said the 2 girls were controlled by threats of violence towards themselves and their families, as we heard, which kinda says there was no relationship of trust, was there? During the trial, the jury heard that one of the victims, who had been raped by every defendant in the case, had on several occasions gone missing and returned home, as we heard earlier. I'm not going to continue to read that, it's making me feel sick. And here we have the Mirror article. The 2 teenagers were systematically groomed and exploited by the men who viewed the girls as merely objects, to be used and abused at will, according to prosecute. So the Mirror at least has got closer to the actual truth of it, although they still haven't pointed out that this was done because they're white girls. And detectives said the fact that one of the girls was targeted as she did her paper round speaks volumes about the sheer depravity of the case. No, it doesn't really. They're looking for kids. It's what they're after, for fuck's sake. How does that speak volumes about the depravity? The depravity speaks volumes about it because we're talking about 13 and 14-year-old girls. The fuck is this lot on about? It's completely depraved because you've got a bunch of fucking Pakistani men ranging from the ages of like 29 to fucking 50 odd trying to rape fucking 13-year-old girls, you stupid cunts. What's wrong with these people? During sentencing, Judge Geoffrey Marsden QC said while the defendants had shown no remorse, the victims had displayed great courage. Yes, they had. It's probably about the only thing he said that's based in reality. He said there was evidence she was self-harming, they were young and targeted due to their extreme vulnerability. No, they were targeted because they were white girls. I'm sick of fucking saying it. They were planned by a large group of Asian men. No, they were planned by a large group of mainly Pakistani Muslim men. Let's get it fucking right here, shitweasel. Because this beating around the bush shit is starting to piss me off. And here we have another one. Michael Quinn, head of the Complex Casework Unit for the Crown Prosecution Service in Yorkshire and Humberside, said the case involved the cynical exploitation of 2 young girls by a group of older men in the Huddersfield area who were targeted because of their vulnerability. No, they wasn't. They were targeted because they were white. These men systematically groomed and exploited the girls for their own sexual gratification and because they were white girls. The girls were drawn into dark and sinister world where they were passed around to men who used them sexually without any regard for whether they were consenting. Well, they were 13 and 14 years old. They could not consent to it, you fucking idiots. What the fuck are these newspapers and these fucking people in these organisations actually going on about? A 13 or 14-year-old girl cannot be consenting to sex and certainly cannot be consenting to getting gang raped, you fucking idiots. Mr. Quinn said sometimes the girls were piled with alcohol or drugs. They were unable to make truly free or informed choices about anything they did with these men. Their abusers viewed the girls as merely objects to be used and abused at will. Doesn't matter whether they're drunk or not, they were just children. They could not make informed choices about doing anything with these men, and I'll guarantee if they could, they fucking wouldn't want to. Look at the fucking state of them. They're all a bunch of dirty nonce cunts, for fuck's sake. And the rest of it's just literally going on about the people's names, which I'm not going to mention. In my opinion, they're all worthless fuckpigs, and they will be called fuckpigs and nothing more. Now, before I end this video, there is something that the BBC, The Guardian and The Mirror have all completely omitted from their articles, which is, of course, the fact that the social services ignored the family's pleas for help and instead tried to blame the victim, saying, "Why does she keep going back?" Are they for fucking real? It's absolutely incredible. Jurors heard the girl's family beg social services time and time again for help protecting her, only to be told she must love it if she keeps going back. Now, I'll tell you something, if this was happening to my child and the social services said that, I'd be doing a serious bird. That is for fucking sure. Though, I expect I'd be doing a serious bird anyway, because I'd be hunting them down like dogs, that is for sure. I mean, how can the social services say she must love it if things like this are happening? Referring to the second victim, then aged 15, Miss Batty told jurors the final straw for her was when she was thrown out of a car with her trousers round her ankles, having had sex with 2 or 3 of the men in the car. She can't remember how many. Oh yeah, she fucking loved it, didn't she, you fucking scumbag social services cunts. That fucking really pisses me off, that does. How fucking dare they say that to a family? They're lucky the parents they were dealing with weren't me, that's all I'll say. But on that note, guys, I am going to end the video there. Now, before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now, as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.